Hey y'all, it's Katie. Welcome back to From My Vanity and welcome to a video I've been meaning to do for quite a while, but I want to talk about the products that I had my eye on. I either was really wanting to get them or I was mildly interested in them, but I just never ended up purchasing it. And in retrospect, now looking back at it, I'm pretty glad that I ended up not buying it. So I feel like these are usually called like products I don't regret not buying. I know Samantha March does them. And then Angelica Nyquist just did one recently. So it's been going around here a lot on YouTube, but it is a fun one to do. I feel like all the ones I'm going to talk about I had really wanted to buy, but now looking back I'm very happy. But there were a few I feel like I kind of anti-hauled. But then after the fact, I was looking back on it a lot, but then I just didn't. We'll get into it. Let's just jump right into it without me babbling on and on. But yeah, let's talk about some products that I am very glad, in hindsight, I'm very glad I didn't buy. Alright, so I'm going to scoot over a little bit just to make sure that I have enough room to put the pictures here. But let's start with the one that comes the first to mind because I wanted this really bad, and I think I even was like, you know, 100% you buy it. I feel like I was 95% sure and just wanting to buy it. I was 95% there. And it is the Suva Beauty, their colorful palette that they came out with. I think it was the Hype palette. Yeah, Hypercolor. Sorry, not Hype. Hypercolor SFX palette. This palette right here, when they teased it, I was like, ooh, that looks so much fun. I like how the colors are just so neon and bright. And they give you kind of like one of each color. You got the green, the yellow, the pink, the purple, the blue, the red, and then you have some duochrome, not duochrome, but I think they're like iridescent shifting shades that you could top over any one of those colors to kind of complement the look, but also just to get a really cool reflective look. I was eyeing that so very hard, and I kind of, like I said, I was 95% sure I was going to get it, and then the day it launched, I was like, okay, let me go on the website and check it out. And I can't remember exactly the prices. Let me just click, this is Beauty Bay. I'm just looking on Google really quick, but the price for Suva Beauty to get free shipping was like, let's see. Okay, I don't remember. It says it's $40.50. But anyway, say Suva Beauty, their price to get free shipping was like $50 and the palette was $49. And everything that you could add on to it, like I was, you know, when I saw that I was like, okay, it's really annoying, just $1 away from getting free shipping, and free, you know, shipping was like, I don't know, $6 or whatever. So I was looking around their site and there wasn't anything cheaper than like $12, I think it was. So I was just, that right there just made me pause. And I know everyone else around the world always looks at the US and be like, why are you guys complaining about shipping? But it's just something I personally don't like to pay for, especially when it's that close. It's one thing if, like, I don't know, I was paying $40 for a palette and then free shipping was like at $100. It's like, okay, I'm not going to go and spend that much. Not going to spend that much to try and get free shipping. But when it's $1, that for some reason just like totally put the brakes on for me. And I was just like, oh, I don't know if I want this palette anymore. And so ultimately I hemmed and hawed about it all day long. I was like, well, maybe I could try one of their liners, and then I couldn't decide which color I wanted. I ultimately didn't get it. And then looking back, I'm kind of glad because I feel like I haven't heard anyone talking about it. And if you know someone who's tried it and loved it or whatever, let me know their channel name down in the comments, and I'd love to check them out because everyone I follow, nobody featured it. And after it launched, I really didn't get anyone reaching out to me and saying like, hey Katie, did you ever get that? Did you like it? When I did the will I buy it, I had a lot of people saying, yeah, I'd like to see what you think about the Suva Beauty palette, you know, if you get it and whatnot. But since it's released, no one's really approached me again and be like, hey, are you going to get that? I'd love to hear your thoughts, or I've been really looking at it. I'd like to hear if you would recommend it. So I feel like, not that it was a miss, but looking back at it, like I'm glad I didn't spend the money on a palette that might not have been, you know, worth all the effort I put into it in my channel. And I've gone on to have so much fun with other palettes. And I think another big reason I kind of put the brakes on is because I got the Slush palette around the same time, or like right before I got that, or maybe the Suva Beauty palette launched and I ended up buying this, and then I was like, you know what, I don't need it. And I love my Slush palette. It is just so beautiful, so vibrant. The colors in there are so gorgeous. They have a nice variety of mattes. So when I kind of think about that, that's another reason I was like, you really don't need it, Katie. And it's a much more condensed palette, true, but I don't need it. And just with all that in mind, I was like, you know what, I'm glad I didn't buy it. It's a palette that I think about every now and then because I'm like, oh yeah, I almost bought that, but I don't think back on it with regrets for not buying it. So I feel like I made the good choice in not buying it. Next up is the Melt Radioactive palette. I want to say this launched around when I was kind of off of YouTube right after I moved here, and then I was going through morning sickness with Levi. I was off for like 2-3 months on my channel, maybe even 4, I forget. I was out of commission for a while, but anyway, this launched around that time, so I didn't really jump on it, and then after the fact, I was looking back on it, and I was just like, It's really beautiful. I was so tempted, but it was kind of too late. Another aspect that I absolutely love about this palette is that the packaging, like the outside of it, is so beautiful. I love bright, colorful, and fun packaging. So, you know, the colors inside were really intriguing. I liked how vibrant they all were. And then the outside packaging was beautiful. But I'm kind of glad I didn't buy it because I feel like now that it's been out, no one really talks about it at all. I feel like Melt is one of those brands that if they come out with a good product, people talk about it for a long time. I feel like people still talk about the Gemini palette. People still talk about the Rust palette, and I feel like that's been out, is it a month? Maybe 2? It's been a little while, but anyway, I just feel like right after this came out, I, saw a couple people reviewing it, not everyone really having the best things to say about it. It was just kind of like, me. And then I haven't heard anything since. So looking back, I'm glad once I got back into YouTube, I didn't spend the money on it. But like I said, I was really in it for not only the rainbow aspect, but the packaging was really pretty. But I don't think I need to spend $48 for packaging. So looking back, I am glad I didn't buy it. Okay, so the next one is kind of funny thinking back on it, but like I said, last summer, I forget, I think we moved the beginning, like the first week of May, that first weekend there, and then I didn't get back onto YouTube till May, June, July, August, maybe even September. I was out for the summer, and sometime within all of that, Jaclyn Hill launched her brand, Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics, and launched her lipsticks, now commonly known as Lipstick Gate. And when she first revealed it, I remember watching the videos, and like at the time, like I was very much out of commission. I was not recording anything for YouTube, but I was watching a lot because I was so sick. YouTube was definitely an escape for me to get my mind off of things. So even though I wasn't on YouTube at all, I was barely even on my Instagram page, I was still keeping up and watching videos and whatnot. So when she launched her lipsticks, I was very interested. Like, this is the brand that people have been talking about coming out for 4, 5, 6 years that she's been working on, a long time. So when she finally revealed that she was going to launch her brand, I was very interested to see what she would launch. And when she came out with lipsticks, not gonna lie, as soon as I saw lipsticks, I was just kind of like, oh, really? Just because I'm not a lipstick person, like I'm a palette person. You put out a palette, and even if it is the most boring neutral palette ever, I'll still look at it and get a little excited and just, I want to see what it is. But as soon as it was lipsticks, I was just like, oh, bummer. But I mean, it kind of made sense because she'd done so many type of palettes. Anyway, getting off on a rabbit trail, bringing it back around. Once I saw it was lipsticks, I was like, yeah, no, I don't need it. I'm not super interested in it. But then when she was showing them and everyone was getting so hyped on it, I was like, you know what, maybe I could try to come back to YouTube right now and be really good to get a couple of these lipsticks to review on my channel. And that way kind of help with the views because, coming back after being gone from YouTube for like 3, 4 months, it hurts when it comes to views. But anyway, the fact that she was coming out with so many nude lipsticks was just too overwhelming for me, and I just didn't buy anything. And now, looking back at Lipstick Gate, I'm very glad I didn't buy any because, number one, I wouldn't want a hairy lipstick, but number two, I've heard a lot of people had a lot of trouble getting their refunds or whatnot and just a lot of headache, and I would have been really upset to be out that money. So in hindsight, looking back at it, it's like, phew, Katie, good thing you were sick, and good thing you're easily overwhelmed by nude lipsticks and having to decide on a shade because you could have been out, I forget how much they were, $25, $29? Anyway, I'm glad I did not buy it. Next is the Tati Blendiful. Now, when she first launched this, I know I was like, sponge, no, I don't need it. But once it came out, the influence of YouTube and beauty influencers really got to me because I was watching one after another review and demo this Tati Blendiful, and I was just going like, should I just was really stuck on the fact that everyone was talking about how revolutionary this product was. And I'm very much a brush girl, so that's the biggest reason I was like, no sponge. But everyone kept going on and on about just how quick and easy it was, how you could blend your makeup in so much faster. So I was like, oh, wait, should I get it? And not gonna lie, I hemmed and hawed. I went on her website a couple times and added it to my cart to see how much shipping would be. I was this close to getting it. But finally I was like, you know what, Katie? I was about to place an Ulta order, and I was like, let me pick up this sponge. This is from the Beauty Blender, and a lot of people were comparing this to that, and they said it was comparable. It wasn't the same, but it was kind of comparable. So I was like, let me get this, and let me just try using it to set my face, because that's something people had said, you can set your face with the Tati Blendiful. It makes it so smooth and easy and just sets so beautifully. So I was like, let me see if I get this. I was able to use my points, so it was free basically, and let me see if I get use out of this. And then if I do like this, if I do enjoy, kind of applying powder with a sponge, then maybe I can get the Tati Blendiful. I always forget to use this thing. I feel like in the time, it's been sitting in my drawer for like 2-3 months. You guys have seen it and shot my stash. I just always forget to it. I'm such a brush girl. I just rather grab my brush and just one and done. I'm even in this phase where I'm not into like wet sponges like the Beauty Blender, you know, for liquid foundation. I'm not really into sponges, period. I just like my brushes and I go back and forth. So maybe when I get back into sponges, then I'll try reaching for this again. But I've used it a handful of times. It's nice, not to say that there's anything wrong with this. I'm just not a sponge girl, so I'm always forgetting to use it. So I feel like that right there is proof enough that I do not need to buy the Tati Blendiful. On top of that though, I feel like a lot of ladies that I watched review it, I haven't really seen it too much. Now also too, I feel like I don't watch a ton of the people who I saw reviewing it, or I don't subscribe to a ton of the people who I saw reviewing it and giving it really favorable impressions and reviews. I feel like as time wore on, they were kind of just like, oh, this is good for traveling, or if I'm just kind of wanting to, you know, be quick and done with my makeup. But I feel like for just the overlarge majority, I feel like I'm not hearing it as much anymore. And let me know if I'm wrong, and let me know if I'm just not watching the people who are raving about it even to this day. But I feel like at this point, I don't really hear much about it anymore. So I don't know. I feel like it's just not as popular. And there was a ton of problems with the quality of the product. I'm not the type of person who is actively seeking out the negative when it comes to an influencer launch or just like a launch in general. But I felt like there were many people I saw just randomly scrolling through social media, through my friends' feeds and whatnot, that I saw people saying like, hey, my Beauty Blender ripped. But anyway, there was a lot of issues with the quality when it came to the sponge itself. So I'm glad I didn't have to deal with any of that, because that's just a headache. And yeah, in hindsight, I don't think I need the Tati sponge. I'm just not a sponge person, so that's money saved. And yeah, no one really talks about it anymore. So I'm glad I just let that, let that new release keep on trucking. Okay, we are almost done. This is the Tarte Icy Betch palette. That would have to be my next pick. I almost bought this several times from Ulta. I almost bought it when I first saw it launch, and then I kind of missed it. Just things kept happening, and I just didn't make the purchase. And then a couple weeks after, I was like, oh, you know, maybe I should get that palette and try it out. And then just things kept happening. And then finally, I was like, you know what? I have points. I'm going to buy it, and I'll review it. And then I just decided not to, and now in hindsight, I'm kind of glad that I didn't, because I am now going to be getting the Give Me Glow Cosmetics, their spicy something. It's like it's basically the same colors as a Tarte, but I just feel like Give Me Glow's quality is so amazing. That'll be more worth the money, and I'd rather give my money to an indie brand or smaller indie brand anyway, that I'm kind of glad I, you know, let Tarte's new Spicy Betch palette just kind of go on by. I didn't need it. I don't need any new palettes, but I definitely didn't need that, just because also too, I feel like the couple videos that I watched of it, the yellow was kind of weak. And you guys know me and my yellows. I can be very particular. If it's a yellow, I want it to look yellow on my eyes. So I don't know. Let me know if you guys ever got this palette, or if you watched a couple of videos on it. Is it worth the buy? That's one in hindsight, I'm glad I didn't buy. If anything, part of me wishes I bought it, but the only reason I wish I bought it is to compare it with the Give Me Glow. And I feel like that's a lot of money to spend on one video comparing it, when I feel like, I don't know, I don't even know if that would be worth the effort, if anyone would be interested in seeing that. So it doesn't really make sense for me to spend the money solely to compare it and then have two palettes that are very much the same. I've done that a few times in the past on my channel, and it just doesn't really end up being smart on my end money-wise. So anyway, hindsight, that's really the only reason I kind of wish I would have bought it, so I'm kind of glad I let it pass. And yeah, I don't really hear anyone talking about it. Okay, so for the last palette, I'm going to finish it up after this, but the last palette I want to touch on is the Morphe x Jaclyn Hill, her second large palette that she just launched a couple months ago. I anti-hauled this, but the reason I kind of said I wasn't going to buy it was mainly because of who the person is that's promoting it. But with that said, I'm not going to lie, I caved in the past, and even when I bought this, I wasn't a fan of Jaclyn. Now granted, a lot has happened since this first launched that has me a lot more firm on my stance of not supporting her, but still, when I said I wasn't, you know, I wasn't going to support her, it's just because of the type of businesswoman and influencer that she portrays herself to be. I don't really support. Not gonna lie, after, you know, as it was being launched and as, you know, the big reveal, people were doing looks, came out, I was wanting it, and the type of looks that was coming out was those yellow and red looks that just look so much fun. There was a lot of yellow and orange that I was just like, ooh, that's really pretty. Looking at the pictures, the yellow and orange just looked so intensely vibrant that there were a couple times I was like, darn it, like, why did Jaclyn have to come out with that? Like, I really think that's pretty. But since its launch, I'm very, very glad I didn't buy it. One, because she got into more drama after this was launched. Is anyone surprised? No. But because of the drama coming out with the reformulation of her original palette, I am glad I didn't buy it, because I feel like people who did get it and were using it have definitely gotten a lot quieter. And then also, too, being practical and looking at it, really the only shades that I liked is the yellow and the orange in there. I mean, the red is fun too, but overwhelmingly, when you look at such a large palette, there's only just a very small number of shadows that I would have really enjoyed and been drawn to. And I feel like I'm totally going to get that in the new Give Me Glow palette that's launching soon. So I just feel like I don't need it. And also, too, it's such a large palette when it's so repetitive. I don't like large palettes. One, they're just very time consuming and exhausting to try and review because there's a lot of shades. And two, they're just so repetitive. I just feel like the last Morphe palette I bought, or like big Morphe palette I bought, I believe was the 3502. And I ended up depotting it because there were so many shades I didn't like. And I think I have like 3, maybe 4. I can't remember. I did my single kind of declutter not too long ago. I kept a handful. Maybe 4 or 5. I don't think much many than that of the shadows, and it comes with what? I forget how many are in their big palettes. A lot of, here, I'll put on the screen. It comes with a lot of shades, and I only kept, you know, 5 maybe. So I just feel like that right there, their palettes are just not worth it. It's one thing that, you know, I don't really like big palettes, but at least if the big palette is worth being big, kind of like the Slush palette. The Slush palette has a lot of colors in it, but they're not all the same repetitive browns, so I can appreciate that palette because I can get a lot of variety with it. When I had the 3502, and even looking at the new Jaclyn Hill 2 palette, while there is a lot more color, there's a lot more vibrancy, if you really look at it and if you really condensed it down, it could have easily been half that size or less. It's just, I'm very glad I didn't buy it. Even the name out of it, Jaclyn out of it, and all the problems that she brings to deciding if I want to buy that, even taking that all out of it, I'm just glad I didn't buy it because it's such a repetitive palette and unnecessarily large, and I just don't want to bring that into my collection. So all in all, I'm glad I didn't buy it. Alright, so there you have it. Those are all the products that I do not regret not buying, and I feel like it can be rare, especially in the beauty community when you're an influencer, to see a launch and be glad you didn't buy it, just because, and also just being a makeup collector and an eyeshadow palette enthusiast, I kind of just am that person that just wants all the pretty things. But looking back and being rational at these products that at one point or another I was really tempted to buy, I am glad I didn't buy, and it's always nice to look back and see that, and you know, I saved some money right there, so that's always nice to know. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. It's just kind of like a fun, laid-back, chill video, and I kind of wanted to have a fun and laid-back, chill video today, so I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it fun, informative, whatever the case may be. And if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, as it helps me in the whole YouTube algorithm. If you want to enter a giveaway, I have a giveaway going on my YouTube channel where I'm giving away 2 boxes. I'll have the link linked up here, 2 boxes full of makeup, and then I also have a giveaway going on my Instagram for 1 box of makeup. If you want to enter that, my Instagram is LadyKitty92. I'll have it linked down below. But yeah, I think that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day to watch another one of my videos. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you very soon in my next one. Bye, guys.